friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be talking about a number of books, 7 books, that I think would make a really good video game. So I have a lot of things to say, obviously. These books I either mention a ton on my channel or don't mention a lot. Kind of, I think, a balance of both here. Want me to make videos similar to this or you want me to make a part 2? Let me know in the comments so I can get that planning. But hit like, subscribe, and comment, and let's go into the video. Starting off with an oldie but a goodie. I even have the sequel right there. And that is Iron Widow by Zhuang Zhao. This is a YA, a sci-fi setting following young Zetian, who is the first and only, I think, female empress in China's history. So she is based off of that Zetian. Has joined the military to be part of these, like, warriors who inhabit these mechas. I forget what they're called, it's been a while. She's been selected as a concubine to help power up the Chrysalises, which is a giant transforming mecha that humanity relies on against the massive alien battle happening against the wall. Zetian's older sister is killed by an ace male pilot, and Zetian signs up for this specifically in the hopes of avenging her sister. When her chi is super high, she ends up getting tossed in with the man who is known for killing the most concubines because of how he's able to just kind of suck the life out of them. So she makes it her mission to take down this government from the inside. I think this would be a really good sci-fi role-playing game. I think with all the fight scenes it would be a lot of fun, especially considering there might be a mechanic where you're either playing as Zetian in the machine, helping to control it and arguing against her partner, whose name I'm forgetting, or you're playing as the mecha, fighting against the other aliens, and you get to learn about the alien battles and the recovery and like the side quests. I think it'd be really fun. I'm visualizing something very expansive, thinking like almost like Final Fantasy level, where it's still like a little touch of fantasy thrown in there, but mainly all sci-fi elements. I think it'd be really fun. I think the visuals in this and the fight scenes would be absolutely amazing. I think there could be an interesting mechanic between, like I said, being Zetian inside the mecha, controlling it, and what you have to do to be able to control it, or being the mecha and fighting as the mecha from a zoomed out perspective. You could also introduce different kinds of aliens and like the different like profiles and how to defeat them. I think that'd be really fun. Overall, I think it'd just be a really fun kind of like roleplay game to be in. And I think Zetian is also just like a perfect like character to follow because she's not super likable. So I think the audience will have a hard time like, well, why isn't she being super heroic? Why is she being so selfish? Because that's her. The next one is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is a spin-off series from the original Shadow and Bone trilogy, following a place called Ketterdam, which is like a offshore Amsterdam. Following these group of criminals, specifically Kaz Brecker's group, as they try to pull off the biggest heist known to man, and that is breaking someone out of, I think it's the ice, I forgot what it is, it's the ice something. But their goal is to break this guy out of this place, it's a place where no one's ever really gotten out alive. I think this would be another good one for a high fantasy like action roleplay game. I think you get to play a lot of different perspectives. Obviously, I think all the main characters in here have a perspective, at least in the first book. So it'd be really interesting to see different perspectives of like where Inej is and where Matthias is, what Kaz is doing, Jesper. And you get to really build the world of Ketterdam and like have these different like mechanics. I think it'd be really fun also when you're in Nina's head to do some like mechanic where you're like having to like really like do a bunch of different symbols, or like have her hold a certain pose to be able to have her manipulate, like be a heart render. I think that'd be really fun. I think it'd be also really cool because even though you're in Kaz's perspective, I think it'd be an interesting twist to have Kaz hide things from even the player, despite you being in his perspective for some of the game. And I think it could be a really cool like fourth wall moment where he goes, "You didn't think I trust you either, did you?" As everything kind of unravels, and I think it'd be really fun to see the different perspectives and see how everything plays out and see just how their lives are, especially with Matthias, considering he doesn't join the party until way later. So I think it'd be really fun to see and to be able to build different characters as you go along with like different like backstories and side quests that remind them of one or the other. I think it'd be super interesting, and I think I would love to see that play out. The next book I think would be an amazing game is The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. This is an adult horror following young Beatriz, whose father was killed at the end of the Mexican Independence War, right? Yeah, so she ends up marrying this very wealthy widow, Don Rodolfo, and he whisks her away. As she's here making, like, you know, trying to get comfortable in this new home, trying to really work out what this village is and what her place is in the society, she realizes that the spirit of Rodolfo's first wife has not quite yet left. It's giving very much a little bit of Rebecca. I think this would be a really good horror game. I think it'd be interesting to see Beatrice kind of follow through the motions of trying to figure out what's going on in this house, uncovering the different secrets in the house while trying to outrun the monster that is the previous wife, whose name I'm forgetting, but I just remember her hair was like the color of corn silk. Cornelia, and kind of seeing this like house come to life against her and learning what's happening in this house would be super interesting. I think it's also just fun to see. I like the concept of like using the house as a form of colonization, but I think it would just be an amazing thing. I love a gothic setting, as you all know, so I think that'd be really fun to see Beatrice go through this house and try to like become like acquainted with the locals and the people there, all while being compared to this woman. And as she's being compared to this woman, the woman just kind of starts to creep up and starts to haunt her throughout the night. I think it'd be super fun.
Oh my god, it's my favorite YouTuber! It's Teresa's Nook. Oh my god, it's my favorite YouTuber, Teresa's Nook. Wow.
Okay.
She's so pretty. Even prettier in person. Who would have thought it was possible?
Jake, we're literally in the apartment.
I can't believe it. She's at this bookstore with these books behind her. And I am also at this said bookstore. Nondescript bookstore with plants. It's a plant bookstore. And pops and chips. Oh my god. You should like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell so you get notified whenever she posts. Ding ding. That's the sound of the bell.
Okay.
Well, you know, like a lot of people have like an actual ship bell. I'm more of a traditional kind of guy. I just make the noise myself. Ding ding.
The next book is going to be The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This is another gothic novel following Nell, who is kind of like an outsider in this world. She's been asked to partake in a study to see if the paranormal is real, and they go to this place called Hill House, which is known for kind of taking the lives of their occupants. They're staying there trying to figure out what the paranormal is, trying to trigger it somehow, all while Nell is realizing that the house has actually set its sights on her to be its next victim. I think this would be a really good anomaly game. I think something like Cabin Factory almost, where instead of like Nell staying at the house, you have her like having to inspect houses to see if they're haunted or not, or what's wrong with it, and throughout that we're uncovering like what she experienced throughout the house through flashbacks, through like jump scares that take her back to the moment, and then as she's realizing what happened to her in the house, it eventually culminates to where she realizes that she never really left the house in the first place. I think it'd be really fun, it'd be really creepy and really spooky, and I think you could also have thrown the undercurrent of like her very gay relationship with Theodora. The next one I'd have to say was Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. This is a cozy thriller following young Lila as she returns back home after an ended engagement. No, she breaks up and ends up going back home to like Wyoming or Wisconsin or one of those W ones to help in her family store. During this time, her high school sweetheart, or high school ex-boyfriend, who is now a health inspector, comes to inspect the store. They have an argument and she gives him the food and then he drops dead. Obviously, because she's the last one to have fed him, she is suspect number one. And when the cops aren't doing anything, she takes matters in her own hands and figures out exactly what's happening. I think this would be a really good hidden object game. I think there's a potential for a lot of like finding out the different clues within the crime scene, within the different scenes unfolding. Kind of give us that cozy vibe while also keeping the stakes fairly high, but not as like high where you'd have to miss things, where you have to like specifically get everything all at once. I think there'll also be a possibility for a lot of mini games where you see Lila cooking to kind of process what was happening. I think that'd be really fun. It also will lend itself to more video games, because this is, I think, a part of a 5-part series. So it could be the first book, the second, and the third. We're ready to follow Lila as she like develops these like sleuthing skills and makes friends and like just kind of finds the different clues within different scenes and everything, and puts and puts everything together. The penultimate book is You've Reached Sam by Justin Thous. This is a YA romance book following Julie and Sam, who are obviously in love and in high school. That is until Sam ends up dying tragically. Julie is kind of racked with grief and doesn't really quite know what to do. So one day she just randomly calls his phone, you know, missing him, wanting to hear his voicemail, and lo and behold, she actually gets Sam on the other end. They don't know how much time they have to do this or how long it's gonna last or whatever, but Julie just wants to hold on to hope and hold on to Sam as long as she can. I think this would be a really good visual novel. I think following the beats of like Julie being stuck at home, you get the beautiful like colors and art that you would get from this book, much like this book is. I think you'd be able to follow the very slow-paced storytelling which follows Julie as she's grieving, as she's really just learning to be on her own without Sam. You'd also get to probably explore like visuals where they're on the phone with each other. I think it'd just be really fun to follow, and it'd be like really low stakes. Obviously there's stakes, but with the visual novel pacing it would be a little bit more slower stakes, and you get to follow Julie as she grieves and gets over Sam, and then also at the same time while she's clutching on to Sam for dear life. And the last book I'm going to recommend for a video game is The Mortal Instruments, or the entire series, by Cassandra Clare. The first book that started it all is The Mortal Instruments, City of Bones. This follows young Clary Frey as she has thought she was human her entire life. That is, I think, on the eve of like her 16th birthday or something, or the few days before. She's at a club, or under 16 club, with her best friend Simon, and witnesses a murder. With this murder, she finds out she is not human, but she is actually a part of a race of shadow hunters, or half angels, who are bred and raised to kill demons and protect humans from this hidden world. I think this would be a very good gacha game, to be honest. Something in lines of like Genshin Impact. I think this would be really fun to like create your own family line that you get to follow throughout the different books, starting with the Infernal Devices, moving into the Last Hours, into the Mortal Instruments, to the Dark Artifices, and every like thing in between. And you get to choose like if you're going to be a shadow hunter, so you can like develop your line, or if you're going to be a warlock or something that just kind of ends up following these shadow hunters throughout the years, kind of like Magnus. I think that would be super fun and super interesting, because then you get to create your own character and be present in the world and have your own unique abilities at the same time. Each like gacha game releases a new character to you for you to play and follow along, and they all have different like abilities. You could like have a bunch of like vampires and warlocks and werewolves and all that stuff mixed in with the shadow hunter gachas. You get to follow the different characters and their storylines, their plots, and their overall like impact on the story as you like progress down the timeline. I think it'd be really fun and super interesting. But that is it for books I think would make really amazing video games. Like I said in the beginning, if you like these kind of videos, let me know in the comments down below. If you think I should do a part 2, also let me know. But until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!